Hey, we're going to be looking at XLB. That's the ticker symbol for the Materials Index Fund, sponsored by Spider Fund. So again, XLB Materials. So the last time we looked at this was on March 19th. So that's right around here on our monthly chart that's currently on the screen. So at that point it was $75, and I had buy points marked out at 77, 73, and 69. I didn't have a resistance point only because this one seems to be in a long-term uptrend in a variety of ways. So we'll go into the technical analysis just here in a minute. Before we do, I just want to show uh, the top 10 holdings. So if we look up at the top, this index is basically in the materials, roughly 90%, and then there is some crossover into consumer cyclical. So that's a good enough split, 90% in the material. So if we look down at the top 10 holdings, which comprise about 64% of this index, um, in all honesty, I'm not too familiar with any of these companies except for LIN, which is Lindy. This is a company we've added to our stock tracker. I believe it's in our value category. And again, the reason why we even chose to include this was because of that of the top holdings, it's making up 19%. So I figure whatever this one does, it's most likely going to impact this index the most. So I just thought it'd be a good one to kind of keep our eyes on, and we're going to continue to cover that over time. But right now, XLB, we'll go into the technical analysis. So it's kind of jumbled. I tried to make it as nice as possible. So just to give just a little crash course on what's going on here, we have this very faint purple line that shows an upward trend that we basically were trying to catch. And bear with me while I kind of zoom in and get the right coordinates. Uh, that upward trend basically was catching most of this stock's upward trend going back to 2000 all the way up through about 2020. So about 20 years, that seemed to be the indicator right there. There were definitely times where it went above and below, but to those just seemed like good opportunities to either take profits or buy into this one. More recently, that's what the darker purple line is. That seems to be the newer trend. And again, this one starts more so back in like 2012, catches most of it through 2018, and now it seems like we're again in that trend most recently. And then we also have this yellow uptrend, which was about a 2-year stint for this company from 2020 up until mid 21. There was a very strong upward trend. I think that just has to do with how it went below for so long. It was trying to catch back up. And then, of course, most recently, since about 2021, midway through 21, it seems to be trading sideways fairly consistently. So that's why we ended that yellow uptrend. It clearly broke trend and is now just trading sideways. And I kind of did this on my own just because this was the previous chart. We marked out a couple uptrends, and they're pretty much still being shown here. I would say this yellow line has turned into our darker purple, and this darker purple on this screen, we just removed that. It just wasn't, it just didn't seem technically accurate to me. So we just more or less started from scratch, and because I knew that might take a little bit of time, I did that on my own. And now I'm just sharing the update. So for this one, again, because we're trading more sideways recently, I don't really anticipate changing any of my horizontal lines. So we have this new bottom that I have marked out at 67. We still have the tops at 88. And then this buy point of 77 that I have marked out here. Um, if you wanted to know where those buy points of 69 come in, that's roughly this bottom trend right here. 73, that brings us up to this bottom. And then 77, that seems to be a more consistent bottom, hitting it once, twice. We can count that as a third. Maybe this is a fourth. Here's 5, and now ultimately 6. Again, we last checked right during this red line. So this should have been a time for me to buy. If we bring over the tracker, which needs to be updated, I did mark it as a good time to buy, but I just ultimately didn't make that purchase. I'm hoping to make it in the coming weeks, because overall it seems like it's below fair value, because again, it does seem to run into some resistance at 84. We're right now at 79, which is closer to that buy point of 77. So it's not a bad purchase at this point. I think we'll have another opportunity to catch it at 77, possibly less, because again, now we're starting to be able to look at both the trend line along with what it's kind of doing in consolidating between this range of about, I'd say, 67 to 88. So again, if we look at the purple lines, you can see we're pretty much in the middle of that upward trend. I think there's always an opportunity that it could fall below, close to maybe like 72 or 73. But we will be looking into it if it drops below 77. So what I'm going to do is just update my tracker here, and then I'll just share once that's updated. So for buy points, I think for me, what I'm looking for in maybe the coming weeks, if this one wants to, kind of trend downwards a little bit, I would ultimately be hoping to catch this one closer to like 72, 73. So I'll change that to, we'll just say 73. So that'll be the same. And then 77. Those will be the buy points. Resistance point, I think for now, 88 does seem to be a resistance point. Very rarely does it go to that mark. We do have a couple times where it touches it, but more recently, 84 seems to be pretty strong resistance. So I think what we'll do is add 2 resistance points on that, and we'll make that a pink color just so it stands out for us. And we'll update our note to show, yes, the long-term trend is intact, and also it's consolidating between, I would say, just for now, we'll say 67 to 88, and I would say more often than not, it's really between 77 and 84. But just to give us a little more breathing room, 67 to 88 is the consolidation window, and that's those black lines here. So with that said, again, I'm looking to buy this one, preferably closer to 73, which would be somewhere along this purple line, like 72, 73, depending on the timing. If it wanted to take a long approach down, maybe 73. If it all of a sudden were to take a sharp decline, maybe we could get it at 72 something. But again, 77 would be like the more realistic, more likely to occur. So 77 is what I'm shooting for. And that pretty much sums this one up. So right here again, we have just a quick recap of what we covered. XLB's at the top. Marking it green because we can maybe actually make that one orange because it's not there yet, but it's very close, and I am willing to wait on it. So we'll mark that orange, and you can see what the colors mean down here in the bottom right. But overall, it's currently at 79. I have buy points marked out at about 73 and 77, and I think we'll run into some resistance at around 84, 88 has stronger resistance. And then just the note, we have long-term uptrend is intact. but it does seem to be consolidating between that range of 67 and 88, so we will be mindful of that. If you have any questions or just want to share comments on the materials sector, I'd be happy to read that. But otherwise, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.